I got quoted over €1,000 just to get my BMW running properly. And after already having spent €13,000 on the car and another few thousand on various body parts in the previous episodes. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to try to fix my BMW all by myself with zero experience. One mistake here and all that money will be for nothing. As you can see, we got a lot of parts here. You may be wondering, what's that big deal about? Issue I'm having with this BMW is something's draining the battery. My first initial thought was, oh, it's the battery. Let's replace that. Nope, it wasn't. Battery still got drained. It's been 3 months now that I've been driving it with a draining battery. I've been charging the new battery every week or so. Yes, I'm committed. I just could not have been bothered. But I think I found out what the issue is. This cheeky little bad boy here. This is the electric water pump on this N55. Well, it hasn't failed, but it stays on. Let me explain. Well, you may be wondering, oh, how can a water pump drain the battery? Simple explanation. After driving the car, let's say for an hour or a bit longer, then I'm driving, I come to a stop. So I turn off the car, I go to the front, and I can start here humming. Even after like 30 minutes, all the modules should be sleeping, but they're not. And after a quick research on the internet, I found out some N55 owners have had the same issue before with the water pump, so they've replaced that, and that seemed to be solving their issue. And that's what I'm hoping. And also, while I'm down there doing the water pump, I'm gonna do all the belts, the pulleys, doing also the coolant, and there's a little upgrade even here. And also, while we're doing the vibration tamper, it is a good idea to install a seal card, because I don't want my Thermostat belt to be sucked into the engine while doing a water pump. It's a good idea to do a thermostat. In this big box here, we got the radiator, along with it the hoses. I didn't need the hose, only needed the flange. Or how do you call it? Flange, because it was recommended on FCP Euro. Let's get cracking. We're gonna kick things off by removing the air intake. First, remove the MEF sensor. There are 4 clips on the airbox. Okay. 1 clip in the middle, and then a clamp at the end of the air intake. That's the airbox off. Then I'm covering up the open hole to avoid any unnecessary bits ending up in my engine. Here is our air filter. I have no idea whether it is good or bad, clean or dirty. To my eye, it looks decent. It's seen better days, so we need to get the fan out. So now I'm ready to start removing the fan. First, we need to remove the trim that covers the radiator and the fan, but that's when I noticed the water pump humming again, and decided to have a look what's going on in the expansion tank. And this, what I found. What the fuck? So the car's been off for 40 minutes now, and it's blowing coolant everywhere. Absolutely mint. So this proves our theory even further, that the water pump is indeed faulty and is draining the battery, because otherwise the water pump would not be working even after 40 minutes after the car's been shut off. Anyway, let's continue with removing the fan. There are 2 screws on either side of the fan that hold the fan, the radiator and the trim piece in place. Oh my lord, why is this plug so far down? Then we need to disconnect the fan's plug. Oh my god, we got it out. Now the next mission is... The next mission is to get the fan out, which might seem like a simple mission, but because of all the hoses and the lines that the fan can clash with. So it really wasn't. Woo! That's nice, that's coolant everywhere. Oh no! It is going everywhere! Well, I needed to get rid of it anyway, so... That's true, and it wouldn't be my video if there weren't any mistakes made. Woo! Got it off! The coolant went everywhere. What a lovely little mess it caused. Is what it is. We all make mistakes, me especially. So we moved. Tried to open up the one of the thermostat or whatever clamp there is to get the rest of it out, because there's still a bit more in than the reservoir. Now we can move on to removing the top radiator hose. Yes. It's moving. Yes. And then remove the thermostat. Oh my god. And then I'm removing the hose that runs from the top radiator hose. And now we can guide the radiator out. Mamma mia! Got it out. And here we can see why we are replacing the radiator, as the plastics are not in the best condition anymore. And now we get the thermostat out, and then I think it's the water pump time. First gonna remove the hose that runs to the thermostat. And then we can guide it out.
Nice.
Next we are moving on to removing the Mickey Mouse flange, which is held in place with just 2 screws.
Boom. It's off.
This one as well is okay. Yeah, see that? How brittle it is. It's a good thing we're replacing that. And now onto the water pump. First, let's unplug the electrical connector.
Play nice with me.
And then we can start removing the hoses that go into the water pump.
Oh yes. Lovely. Ah!
That's the first hose off, and now onto the second one, which almost put me out of my misery.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Oh, yes. Yes. I could not be happier. Oh. There's Jesus.
Then we can start undoing the screws that hold the water pump in place. There's 2 at the bottom and 1 at the top. Once they're all loose, the water pump should just come out.
Look, here it is.
So we got it off. It is here, and hopefully if they are the same.
Look the same to me.
Once confirmed they're the same, we are then ready to install our new water pump. First, I'm rubbing some coolant on the connecting points with the hoses so that the installation can be a bit smoother, and then in goes the new water pump. First we're gonna connect the hoses that we took off, then I'm gonna put back 2 bolts at the bottom, but I'm not going to do them up just yet. First I'm gonna do up the top bolts, and then move below to do up the rest of the 2 bolts.
Right now I need to look over the torque specs.
And torque specs me 10 newton-meters.
10 newton meters plus 90 degrees. Since I don't have torque range that goes to 10 newton meters, I'm just gonna do nice and hand tight. Game is the game. I think that's enough. Fuck, that's tight, eh? And now the top one. Right, that's tight as well.
Once the bolts are nice and tight, I'm moving on to the clamp, and the key with the clamp is to not to do them too tight.
Me back. So with that, water pump is on.
So now that the water pump's all nicely on there or installed, I think next up we're gonna utilize all this space here that the radiators and the fan have created. And next up we're gonna be doing is replace the charge pipe, and then we're gonna do all the pulleys and the belt. So let's do that. Kicking things off by removing whatever sensor goes into the charge pipe. Next up we're gonna remove the C-clip.
Oh no! Oh, it's there.
Then we can just pull it off from the throttle body. Then we can move on to the bottom and remove it from the intercooler.
Oh. Oh, hey!
My initial plan was to get it out from the engine bay without having to remove the intercooler, but that clearly wasn't happening, so I had to get a little help. But for that help I first had to remove the serpentine belt. And then I just got the charge pipe into 2. Once I got the old charge pipe out, I started transferring all the O-rings from the old charge pipe into my new aluminium one. I looped them up using clean engine oil, and in they go. Then I'm transferring over the C-clips. And now I'm trying to recreate the old charge pipe shape. Since my car is a manual, I had to go to my local hardware store and get the silicone plug to cover up the automatic transmission line that runs into the charge pipe. Once happy with the shape, it's ready to be installed. First clip it into the throttle body, then onto the intercooler, and then into up to 2 silicone clamps. Then we can put back our sensor that we took off in the first place, and with that our new charge pipe is on.
So next what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be taking out all the pulleys out. I've already taken the belt off while removing the charge pipe. So next up what we're gonna do is remove all the pulleys, and then we're gonna give a nice clean to the engine block because it looks like it has had a quite nasty oil leak. So I think we're gonna start off by removing the tensioner.
First we're gonna start off by removing the tensioner, which is held in by just one screw. And out it comes.
So that is off.
Next we're gonna remove the idler pulley, and same deal as with the tensioner, just one screw holding in place.
Now I'm gonna do the crank pulley as well. But first, actually, let's look if it's the same. It's not the same one, is it? Well, that's money down the drain. For what fucking engine is this one? X1 to X5. Well, why did on their website it say 335i, you muffets? I don't know how much you know N55 spots. See, we got 4 screw holes here, but on the N55 we got like all around it. That's money nicely spent, is what it is. 100 euros wasted. Right, let's take current one off then. Wait, the whole fucking pulley is done, isn't it? Then we need to counter hold it.
Pretty soon I found out that I need to control the pulley in order for me to loosen it, but thankfully God gave me 2 hands, so I was able to hold it from the flywheel. Once the screws are off, the pulley should just pop out, or in my case...
Oh, there's one more box though. Motherfucker, you come off. Yes, you...
Now that all the pulleys are off, we got a nice little room to ourselves to give the block a cheeky little wipe down.
I think now we're ready to install our crank seal guard.
Now to install the crank seal guard is thankfully quite a simple process. There are 2 screws just beneath the crank pulley which you need to remove. Once the 2 are removed, you just pop the crank seal guard into the place and just torque them down, or in my case, nice and hand tight.
This crank seal was from BMW, and it's actually really nice. They included a whole instruction how to do it.
We also got a few other goodies from BMW as well to improve the look of our engine bay. First thing we're going to install is going to be this carbon fiber coolant tank cap. And yes, it is real carbon fiber. First I'm going to clean both of the caps with alcohol. In my case the alcohol is off the shelf, don't ask me why. Then I'm going to stick the 3M tape that's provided with the product onto the new coolant cap. And then press it onto our old coolant cap.
A bit of pressure on it, and boom! That's one of the things installed.
And just like that, our carbon fiber coolant cap is on. Next up we're going to replace our old plastic oil filter housing cap with a proper billet aluminium one. So first let's remove the old cap, then remove the filter, and then transfer over the inside from the old oil filter housing cap into our new billet aluminium one. Simply just press it in, and it's really nice. The O-ring on this cap here, it was provided by BMW, so you don't have to worry about replacing that. Just oil it up with new fresh engine oil, and then we're gonna put it back into the engine. So yeah, put back the oil filter and lube up the oil ring. And then back onto the engine it goes. And there we have it. Our new nice looking oil filter housing cap is on. And if you want to upgrade your plastic bits on your BMW as well, then check out the link in the description, as they got a wide selection for different BMW models, and use code KELLAR11 at checkout for 11% off site-wide.
And now I think we are gonna put all the pulleys back.
Starting off the crank pulley or the harmonic balancer, once it sits nicely on its lip, it's time to put the bolts back in.
And now I need a second person to counter hold the, which I do not have.
Since the absence of a second person, we're gonna continue with installing the tensioner pulley.
What the fuck was the torque specs?
And now that we have it situated, we're going to set our torque wrench to 38 Newton meters.
38 Newton meters. Now is the idler pulley. Now where did it go? I'm a little bit confused. I need to see the picture straight below.
Once I confirm the correct seating position for the idler pulley, it's time to whack it in.
56 Newton meters. which we're gonna put it on. Onto the dad we call, because we need his help. Now we're gonna install belt, and after the new belt is on, you reinstall a new thermostat and new radiator, and also put the old fan back on. So, and then we're gonna need to fill up a coolant, then we need to air the system, and hopefully that's that, and our issues are fixed. So, get on. So here is our new belt. That's gonna go on. First of all, before I install it, I need to look at the picture that I took from my phone to see how it runs.
So on goes the belt. Once it sits nicely on all the pulleys, then we can remove the tension from the tensioner.
Next up, let's start installing the thermostat.
Once the thermostat is nicely wiggled in, then we can move on to installing the radiator. Once the radiator is nicely seated, then we can connect our thermostat with our radiator, then to up the clamp that goes into the thermostat, then the bottom hose to the thermostat, and then the plug.
That's on there.
Now we can move on to connecting the top radiator hoses.
That up. So that is solid. What the fuck? Why isn't that going on?
Next up, we're gonna put back our new Mickey Mouse flange. Once it's on, we can connect it to the thermostat.
So next up, we need to mix about 10 liters of coolant into this tank here, whatever we call it. This needs to be mixed with distilled water, which we got here. So let's start mixing. 250 ml. I'm gonna go 2 cups of this. Put that for the rainy days. Yep. BMW Coolant. I don't know why, but for some reason I am scared as fuck.
Now is the moment of truth. To see whether repair was successful and if there is any leaks.
Me back. Right, let's add a touch more, and then we'll start the bleeding procedure. And it's fucking leaking. What? Ah.
As seen on the screen, our top radiator hose is leaking, unfortunately.
It is the next day. Yesterday we started filling up the coolant, and unfortunately one of the hoses to the radiator from the engine was leaking, or at least I hope it's leaking and it's not the new radiator that's at fault here. So it was this little bastard here that's leaking, and looking at it I can see that it is, or it's going like brownish already. So that indicates that it's getting old and fragile and brittle. So it's probably a good idea to swap it out anyway, along with this overfill line here that goes to the expansion tank. That I got brand new as well.
So let's replace the top radiator hose. First we need to get old hose off. Luckily we have done it once already from the radiator side.
Okay, it came off.
And then from the oil filter housing. And now we can install our new top radiator hose.
Click here.
Then off with the old overfill line, or whatever line it's called. And then on with the new one. But our issue wasn't quite solved yet.
Oh my motherfucking god, we got another leak from this stupid... Of course it's the one that I didn't buy as well.
So looks like we got yet another leak, coming from the only hose that I didn't replace. But since it was the weekend, I decided to replace the O-ring that sits inside the hose to see whether that will solve our leak. And I think it worked. So now we're finally ready to start our cooling bleeding procedure. Thanks for the BMW's electric water pump, the process is made quite simple. I'm using a trickle charger just like recommended by BMW. Then it's easy, temperature all the way up and at the lowest speed, headlights on, and then press the throttle for 10 seconds until you can start hear the water pump humming. The process lasts about 10 to 15 minutes. And after that, your coolant system is bled.
So I think it's been
at least 12 minutes now. Still can't see any coolant leaks. I'm gonna shut it off now, put back on the fan, and then fire it up. See if you're routed to belt the correct way, if there's any problems with that. And see if the car runs up temperature and if the coolant is doing what it's supposed to do. So let's get on with that. So before we can fire up the car for our ultimate test, we need to route back the fan. Wow. Once that's on, back on with the intake. And now we're finally ready to see whether we've done a decent job. So we're gonna try and run it up to temperature. Into any oil work for it. Start it. Let's just quickly check for any obvious leaks. All good from there. Those hose seems to be decent. I don't think you guys have any idea on how scared I am to take this car for a spin at the minute. I'm gonna go and do a small test drive. So the car seems to be working fine, but obviously it's too early to tell. But in the meanwhile, you can start modifying it, and the modification is going to be intake from, I believe it's from Burger Tuning or Burger Motorsports, 855 intake. So let's go and put it on. So off comes the old one again. And while the intake is off, it is a good idea to put back the trim cover for the radiator and the fan, which I forgot to do previously. Then we're going to assemble our new intake. Now I need to take off the screw here. Cuts and tights. And like that, the new intake is on. And here is how it sounds. Could do this all day. Oh, it's slippery though. So it's been about 10 days since we last finished installing our new water pump, and honestly I think we have done it. The car holds its temperature nicely. There is no apparent leaks at the minute. Tweet, don't want to jinx it. I mean, for some of you guys it's not as big of a job as I seems to make it to be, because there was no engine open, no nothing. It was just all like pretty much bolt-ons, so-called. And personally, I want to say proud of myself by doing it on my own, because as I previously mentioned, I did not have any prior mechanical experience. It was literally my first time wrenching on a car on near the engine, so-called, by replacing the water pump. And yeah, I can say I am proud of what I've done, and I've managed to do it successfully without causing any big mistakes. Obviously there was mistakes made, and that's just how it is. It's gonna be mistakes made. There's no way around it. But currently, car drive really lovely. So yeah, that is one mission completed, and on to the next.